Hi, I'm Mike Marino, and this is a brand new episode of Live from My Mother's Basement. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon, because I don't know when it is that you'll be watching this podcast. I'm Mike Marino, and welcome to another episode of Live from My Mother's Basement. You could probably hear my enthusiasm of how happy I am that I'm actually back in the basement, because I've been touring so much that I've been doing the podcast from all places but the place I belong, the basement, where my family was upstairs and we grew up down here playing with our Tonka trucks, eating pasta, and taking shit out in the yard. I'm so happy to be here tonight because, well, this afternoon or whenever it is that you're watching the show, because my friend here, his name is Tyler Jones. He's a famous tattoo artist. I say famous. He's famous. And I met him on a cruise ship 5 years ago, and then I'll let you know what happened. Some time passed by. So let's do a shout out and a thank you. Tyler, thank you so much for coming down the house. You son of a bitch, he finally made it, man.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
This is the first time that I've had a tattoo artist on a show. And actually, it's the first time that I actually got a tattoo. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, that I'm not from that generation. My brother don't have one. My younger brother don't have one. My friends never really had one. My father's got 2 tattoos. They're birds, and they're on his shoulder. But he got them in the Army in the 60s, well, maybe late 50s. I have an uncle, the guy I do in my stand-up routine, Uncle Tommy, you sons of bitches, you fucking morons. He had anchors on his arms. Anchors because he was in the Navy, I think. Either that or he was too drunk to realize he was in the Army. But he had anchors. So the tattoo thing wasn't that big of a deal like I think when I was coming up, my heyday. Mm-hmm. But boy, oh boy, tattoos seems to be the biggest thing going on in the world today. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's still in its infancy.
Is it?
I really do. I mean, it's so far past what it was since I got into it, but I think there's so much more room for growth.
Wow, he said that so intelligently. See how lighthearted he is about the way he's going to present this. He's not from New Jersey. His accent is not really there, unless maybe he has a cocktail or two, and then it starts to leak out. He's from, I always said Boston.
Born in Boston.
Boston.
Yeah, I was born in Boston.
Why don't you have an accent?
Because I grew up in southern New Hampshire.
Is it that much different, New Hampshire and Boston?
Oh, yeah, that 45 minutes is huge. My brother lives and works in the city, and he's like, can I swear?
Yeah.
Fucking park the car.
He asked if he could swear on my show. Is he out of his fucking mind?
Hey, I don't know.
Park the car. How does it say? Fuck.
Fuck.
Oh, it sounds like you got a stick in your throat. Fuck.
Watch the town.
Right?
It's accurate.
Wow. I know we watch movies with the thick Boston accent, and it's fun. I've been to a lot of different places in Boston. I guess the Italian section is what they call the South End or something like that?
The North End.
North End.
Yeah, the North End.
And they have real thick accents. They all sound like fishermen from Gloucester or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accurate?
My brother was a crab fisherman.
A crab fisherman?
Yeah.
See that? I only noticed because I saw a movie called The Perfect Storm.
Yeah.
With George Clooney.
Yeah, that freaked out my sister-in-law.
Did it really?
She didn't want my brother to go to work after that.
Yes, I would watch that movie and say, that's it. You ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
There's a perfect storm coming.
Yeah. So you never went crab fishing?
No, I'm allergic to fish. I fucking hate crabs. They're ugly, look like bugs.
You must have caught crabs once.
I caught crabs twice when I was in my teens. Oh, man. Why don't we go here? We could go here. No, it's probably in my 20s. Everybody at that time got the crabs.
Yeah.
All right? And I'm not embarrassed to say it. It's scary shit because you go to bed, everything is fine. Back at that time, everybody was wearing white Calvin Kleins. You wake up and it looks like there's sand in your underwear. Sand from the beach, little black pieces of sand.
Yeah,
and you
moving?
Well, you can't see them moving just yet. You just scratch. And then you get up and you put on the light and then you call your friends because you were with your boys. It was summertime. There's 10 people in the beach house. Maybe this is just my life. See how I told you never know what the hell's going to happen with one word?
Yep.
Fucking crabs. Now I'm going to have to tell the story. But I remember scratching, and then you call your friends. Dude, come in my room right away, man. You got to help me. What's the matter? I don't know. I woke up with sand in my underwear. And your friends are like, oh, dude, you got the crabs. No, how did I get crabs? How did you get crabs? You had to have been with someone who had them. They transfer them over. You mean you don't get them from going water skiing or some shit? I said, no. And then you get that bright light and a little magnifying glass, and you scare the living shit out of yourself because you actually see the little crab. And then you go over to the drugstore, and you say, this was when there was no such thing as CVS. This is great. You guys paying attention? There was no such thing as CVS. You didn't have to go to urgent care. You didn't have to go to see a doctor. You went and saw a pharmacist who knew your mother and father and your friends. And I says, listen, I'm scritching and scratching downstairs. You got to help me out. And the guy goes, you want Rid-X. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Anybody remember?
No, what is it, like a shampoo? Or
It was a shampoo.
So I do know what it is. A friend of mine used to get crabs from this girl years ago. He told me the story long after.
Used to? What, he kept on going back for more crabs?
And he goes, I would pre-buy the soap. I go, why don't you just buy it for her and get rid of the source?
That is so jacked up.
So he would go back every week and re-catch it. I go, why do you give her the soap? He goes, I never thought about it. Right to the source.
And we'll be right back after this commercial break. This is hilarious. I remember going to see that drug guy, the druggist. And he said, yeah, tell your mother and father I said hello. I'd rather they didn't know I came in here. And he gives you the Rid-X. I'm pretty sure it was called Rid-X. And one shampooing. And then they tell you to wear a specific color underwear. I think it was like a powder blue. So that you could see all the dead crabs in the underwear when you woke up in the morning. Isn't this a wonderful way to start the podcast? Talking about crabs. But I got to tell you, I think that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. This guy knew she had the crabs, so he just got the soap.
Yep.
Imagine that.
He pre-bought it for himself.
Imagine, honey, I really like you. I'm going to go take a shower. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'm getting prepared for the scritching and the scratching. But anyway, so I don't even know how we got on this subject of going crabbing. I never went crabbing. I don't like crabs. Crabs are pretty ugly to me, and I don't eat seafood. I would eat a mermaid, but I wouldn't eat anything else.
Yeah. I actually got a little side story. So pretty recently I went to nowadays we don't go to the drugstore, we go to Planned Parenthood. All right? So recently I go to Planned Parenthood. As a tattoo artist, I go once a year to get my blood work checked. You know, we work with blood regularly. So I go in, they give me the cup, I pee in the cup, put it in the thing, shut it. You know, I'm getting blood work done, I get everything checked while I'm there. I come out, I open the door from the bathroom, and I look at the girl in line after me, and I go, that tattoo looks familiar. I go, I fucking did it. I look up, it's my client.
No kidding.
Right there. And I go, hey, what are you doing here? She goes, what are you doing here? The last place you want to run into somebody is at a
Planned Parenthood.
a STD screening.
That's why you went to Planned Parenthood for an STD screening?
So I went there. I go there once a year. I get my blood work done because I'm working with blood. You know, girls go there if they're pregnant or STD screening or, you know, things like that.
So, don't you go there for, I mean, wouldn't you just go see a regular doctor or urgent care or CVS?
Yeah, you could.
Was it free to go where you go?
It's not free, but it's a lot cheaper.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, tattoo artists, we don't have health insurance.
You know, you don't need it. You just use soap to get the crabs before you get crabs. Yeah. Whatever. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
So how would the conversation end?
I haven't seen her since.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You didn't say, hey,
her next
you're here, I'm here. What are you doing
I
here?
haven't disclosed her name, but her next appointment might be awkward.
Yeah, especially if she comes for another tattoo.
Yeah.
You know, I should get another tattoo. I'll get a crab. A crab right around my crotch.
Yeah. When you meet a new girl, say, you want to see my new tattoo?
Yeah, there's a bunch of crabs over here. What do you think? Sounds like you've been to Planned Parenthood. We're hanging out with Mr. Jones. They call him Mr. Jones. I kept calling him Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
I met Mr. Jones on a cruise ship. I was entertaining on this ship. It was about 5 years ago. It was one of these Royal Caribbean cruise ships. And we were out in the ocean, and I was doing some entertaining. And he and his two friends were out there just doing what young kids do, meeting some girls, having some fun. I noticed when they were out by the pool, these guys were in great shape and had the most incredible tattoos I've ever seen. And I was like, wow, you know, I'd really like to get a tattoo. So we bullshitted, we became friends, we stayed in touch all this time, just chit-chatting on the phone. I always said if I ever come out to Boston to do a show, maybe that'll be the day I do a tattoo and we'll put it on my bucket list of something to do. So before you became a tattoo artist, what were you doing?
So I'm 36. My last real job, I worked at a Walmart distribution center, slinging boxes.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
I can't picture him taking orders from anybody.
Yeah, I could never go back to a regular job. Tattooing is too good.
You know, it's funny. I didn't even know or consider tattooing a non-regular job. I guess it's not.
No. No.
It's like when people say to me, "What's your real job?" I'm like, "I'm a comedian. That is my job." But I guess some people think it's not a real job because you don't go to work 9 to 5 and you're not slinging boxes.
I think
at
tattooing
Walmart.
now is a little more of like a real job because people ask me less and less, like, what else do you do? Like when I first started tattooing, people would ask, like, what's your day job? I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. That could be kind of confusing because, you know, everybody says to me all the time, "What's your day job?" I'm like, "I work in the Mike Marino Entertainment office getting myself work to do at night. This is a full-blown job.
Mm-hmm.
I work 24 hours I work 10 hours a day and every day of the week, and then 4 nights of the week I go out to perform."
Mm-hmm.
So I never really thought about that. So yeah, I guess tattooing is not a traditional job.
Yeah. And I also think that as a tattoo artist, I feel like I have 5 jobs. Like I do my own social media. I'm a clean, sterile person. So, you know, taking care of the studio, drawing, tattooing, communicating with clients. I feel like, not to go down too serious of a path, but I feel like tattooing lacks professionalism as a whole because I think people just think like, oh, I tattoo, that's all I do. I think if you can implement more professionalism with communicating with clients and you can actually build it. That's why I think tattooing is in its infancy. I think there's so much more opportunity to build more than just like a tattooer. I think there's a lot more there.
Well said. Well, what made you want to get into tattooing?
This is the easy part. This is where the anxiety goes away. So
What anxiety?
when I was 12 years old, my mom, who was a stripper, had married a tattoo artist. This is back in the day. He tattooed next to a biker bar. I went in.
Here's where the story becomes interesting. I have a funny feeling crabs are going to make their way back into the underwear. It's okay to laugh. You don't have to hold in your laughter. There's a bunch of people in the studio audience tonight, and we want to make them laugh. This is a comedy show. You can go for it. So your mother was a stripper,
She was.
right?
Yeah. My stepfather went in. He said, I'll take that one. Brought her home. She said, I got 3 kids. He said, bring them.
Wow. What did your father do before the stripper father guy?
My real father?
Yeah.
He wasn't in my life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my stepfather became my idol, and I started watching him tattoo, and I was just drawn to it. So when I was 12, we're past the statute of limitations. He gave my brother and I each a Percocet, some Dr. McGillicuddy's, and let us tattoo each other. I'm not kidding.
Usually 12-year-olds take crayons and they ink their friends' faces. And then when you get in your 20s, when you're drunk, you ink one of your friend's faces. And when he wakes up, he's shocked that he had ink on his face. You guys tattooed each other?
Yeah, 12 years
With
old.
a real tattoo machine?
Yeah,
Wow.
we did.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And we actually got cool tattoos. I have a younger brother. It's a kanji symbol. And he has older brother, and like a Japanese symbol. So it's not a tattoo I regret. And it's funny because his came out better than mine, and he never tattooed.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So you're the only one of the brothers that became the tattoo artist.
I'm the only one. Of all 4 boys that grew up under that roof, I'm the only one that did it.
So when you were 12, you got a tattoo from your brother?
12 years old.
For real?
Got my first tattoo.
Can we see it?
Yeah, absolutely. It actually looks pretty good.
This is a tattoo from when you're 12. Let me see. Look at that. What is that?
It's a Japanese symbol.
It's a Japanese symbol
It means
at 12.
younger brother. I was in 8th grade. I was always a
It's
little younger
unbelievable.
than everybody. Yeah.
Did that hurt?
You know, the Percocet helped.
Did your brother actually know how to give a tattoo?
Not really, but I mean, with the guidance, we were in a professional setting.
Oh, okay.
So,
See, I'm thinking you're in the bathroom, you're on the playground, you're
No.
hanging out by the swings.
no, we were right there in a real tattoo shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what tattoo did you give them?
So he got a similar symbol. It means older brother. Yeah. So
Right.
Older and younger brother. Yeah.
What's the middle brother's tattoo?
So the other brothers didn't get tattooed because we all had different parents, and they didn't want to like get in too much trouble.
Right.
So they didn't want to send him off to.
I love these sagas. You never know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's great to have a crazy life.
What's funny is as I started getting my arms tattooed, 15, 16 years ago, when tattoos weren't as accepted, women at grocery stores would be like, "What does your mother think?" I'm like, "My mother's a stripper," and they're like, "Oh, okay, no more questions."
What does your mother think? She gave me the tattoo.
Yeah.
I was sleeping.
Yeah.
So at the age of 12, 13, that's when you thought, hey, this could be my future?
Yeah,
Given a tattoo?
so 12, 13, I was like, I'm done with school. I stopped applying myself, got a bunch of Fs, didn't really go to school. And then at 16, my mother and stepfather split up, probably like 15. And then it was time for me to drop out and tattoo full time. But he was out of the picture, and there weren't really any tattoo shops around that would hire you. It was kind of like the gatekeepers were like, nope, I'm in the industry, I'm in the business, no one else is allowed to tattoo.
So while your stepfather was tattooing,
Yes.
did you go work in his shop for him?
Once him and my mom split up, he was all set. He was done with all of us.
Oh.
Yeah. My mother had an affair with the owner of the strip club.
Oh, wow.
So he was like, yeah, you guys can all go away.
All right.
And in hindsight, it was the best thing that ever happened because it forced me pre-Amazon, pre-internet, like I had to dig my way into tattooing. And I think that's kind of like a downside nowadays is everything is so readily available that I feel like people don't value it. Like back then to get a tattoo machine or supplies, I had to like beg, borrow, and steal to get into the industry. And then eventually I kind of just gave up and thought I would tattoo out of my bedroom forever because I couldn't get into a shop. And then that gentleman that you met, John Burnham, the one that helped you with your car, he hired me when I was 20 and he put me in a shop and that changed everything.
When you get hired as a tattoo artist in somebody else's place, is that like when they hire a beautician to work in a place where they rent the chair and they get a commission off the clients?
So the way that apprenticeship would work back then, it was a 50-50 cut. So like he hires you as a tattoo artist, you're an apprentice, you give him 50% of whatever you make, but they're teaching you how to tattoo and they're also providing you with clients. This is pre-social media. Like we have it made now. The phone is the greatest thing. You could tattoo from home essentially, but back then you needed a storefront. You needed a brick and mortar building.
Right.
So
I'm wait a minute. I'm a little confused here. So you're working in a tattoo shop. Somebody comes in and says, I want a skull on my neck, and the owner says, well, that kid will do it.
Yeah.
Well, whoa! The kid's just like 15. I want you to do it. How's that work?
So you tattoo a lot of stupid people at first.
Right.
I mean, really, people gotta take a chance. But for me, it was hard because I looked younger. I look younger than I am now. I feel.
You do, yeah. You look like you're in your 20s.
When I was 20, I looked like I was friggin' 14, and I didn't have my arms all tatted up yet. So I had to kind of grab onto the thing from my stepfather and kind of fabricate the story. I'm like, oh, I've been tattooing since I was 12. No worries. Like I would kind of fluff it up.
So you never worked in your stepfather's, what do they call it, tattoo parlor?
No. And at the time, I thought that was a huge downfall, and I have a lot of respect for him. Like, he brought more good into my life than bad for sure. But at the time, I was like upset because I wanted to work for him. But in hindsight, it was the best thing because it allowed me to kind of like mold into something I'm happy to be.
So do you actually know where he is now? Where is he doing tattoos?
He still tattoos, not because he has to, just kind of as a hobby.
Right.
He's made smart decisions with his...
Does he have like a storefront still?
He's got a storefront. He works by appointment only, but he's on his third marriage. He's 62 and he has a 7-year-old daughter. So he's...
So you never go over to him like, hey, how you been? And
we do. Yeah, there were years where we didn't talk for stupid reasons, but we communicate now. It's brief.
It just seems so interesting because eventually you could become a bigger tattoo artist than he ever was.
So... I've been thinking about this lately, and you might be able to relate in the comedy world. I feel like all the tattoo artists that came before me, even if they sucked at tattooing and they were rude and didn't treat their clients the way I do, they helped pave the way. I mean, like you said, bikers and pirates. My clients now are dream clients. If I had those old pirate bikers, I probably wouldn't want a tattoo, to be truthful. Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I had the patience for it. But now the tattoo clients that I have are ideal. They're freaking amazing. I mean, look, I got to tattoo you.
Yeah, well, hey.
You're all right.
I made it. And you know what's funny? Everybody that I told I was going to get a tattoo, they're like, "You're gonna want more." And on my way home in the car, I'm like, "I should have got one more."
That's what
Now I'm
happens.
like, you know what? I like a couple things I want to have done. I want
Everybody-
to do my shoulder. I want to do this.
Yeah,
I want to do
everyone
that.
gets addicted.
I'm not. I don't know if it's an addiction. Maybe it is addiction. It's probably somewhat of an addiction for these people that are getting out of hand with what I think.
So do you want to know
tattoos?
Do you want to know the weirdest tattoo I've ever done?
All right, bring it out.
So it's not really weird. I guess it's wild. When I was probably 20, 21, I was dating this girl, and her brother came in with his girlfriend. And she's like, "Hey, I want to get a tattoo. Yeah, what do you want?" And I'm working on this one girl. She's at the booth. This is, the walk-in days. She goes, "I want to get the word freak." And I'm like, "Okay, where?" She goes, "Right here." I go, "Right where?" She goes, "Right here, as low as you can go."
Oh, he's pointing to his crotch where the crabs normally flow.
Yeah, so I went out. I bought the crab shampoo just in case. No. But
You have to wash.
But yeah, so she got the word freak below the belt line, about as low as you could go. And yeah, I wonder what she's up to today.
Wait. The word freak
The word freak, as low as you could go.
around the crotch area as low as you can.
Yeah, like the mound, as low as you can go before
The
falling
mound?
in, before falling in.
What year was it that there was a mound? Is there no mound? Was it shaved completely? Do
Oh,
you
yeah.
shave it?
No, this was pre-shaved.
Because she shaved my leg
Yeah.
so that I could get the tattoo.
That's actually a really good question.
Yes, it is a good question. I
Yeah.
got good questions. All right, let's rewind. When I had my leg done, I shaved my leg, but when I got to his studio, he shaved it again.
Yeah, I probably did shave her again
Could you imagine?
for professional reasons.
Yes, I would be very professional.
Yeah.
If I got to shave a panty line, I would say, "Oh, I got to get the tweezers."
I mean, now that I'm
This is going to take a while.
now that I'm overbooked, I do need an assistant. If you want to come up and
Imagine that.
a side gig.
Listen, before we do your tattoo, I want to introduce you to Mike the Shaver. What's up?
Sponsored by.
Is that a crab? All right, let's be serious though. What does a tattoo artist have to do when someone comes in and, of course, wants one down in the areas that are unspeakable?
So a lot of the weird stuff I would pass off to other people. When I worked in a public shop. Now I can screen everybody through the phone, but I'm pretty professional at this point. Yeah, like when I tattoo, like whatever body part it is, it's just the body part.
Well, you're saying that you wrote the word freak
Yes.
as low as you can.
I might have a picture
Was
on my
there
phone.
big letters? Was it in script?
It's in script. Yeah, it's still there.
Script?
Yeah.
Cursive?
Yeah.
Would you like this in cursive?
Yeah. So her boyfriend was there.
Oh,
Oh, he was stomping up and down. He was covering his head, and I'm just like, buddy, I'm not the only one that's gonna see this. Everybody at the party tonight's gonna get a glimpse.
all right. So it was all shaved up. So she prepared herself, and you went in there and did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went
That's
in.
got to be the most awkward thing possible. How do you even look at the boyfriend or the husband like, "Yeah, I've done many of these."
Luckily, I was too young to know the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was probably 20 years old. So.
I'm going to keep this show clean, but I really feel like going, did you ever go, do a tattoo in that area and go, "Yeah, you know what? Let's not do it today. Why don't you come back tomorrow when, like after you shower?"
So with the story that
Did that ever happen? Like you kind of like, "Listen, I can't do it. I can't breathe."
I lived in Oregon for a year.
What does that mean? They're all hairy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah, yeah. Girls would come in and they would wave and they'd have more hair under their armpit than me. Different culture.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Could you put an eagle under my arm? I want to make it look like he's in a patch.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. All right, so you tattooed her and
Yeah.
away it goes.
Yeah. Where she went, where she is today, I have no idea.
And that's the craziest of the stories? No, I'm sure you got some.
I mean, there's crazier stories, but I never did weird tattoos. But in the studio, yeah, there's wild stories.
Ladies and gentlemen, his artwork on people's bodies is absolutely unbelievable, and
Thank
you
you.
can see it.
Thank you.
And then when I got my tattoo, I didn't even realize the detail of what they go through to give you that tattoo. Had no idea. I thought I was going to show up and he was just going to draw on my leg. Wasn't that way at all. I guess it was a couple of days of drawing
Mm-hmm.
what we would like on my leg.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going, that's the one. Yes. Okay, change that, change that, change that. Oh my God, he did it again. And I know you spent a lot of time doing that
Yes.
without me even being there. And I didn't even realize that you were going to take that drawing, put it on my leg, and then do exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought I was going to just show up and have a drink and you were going to be like, bzz, 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 bzz. Nothing like that. And it took a long time. And yeah, it hurt like fucking hell.
They don't feel good.
No,
Sharp needles going in the skin.
very sharp. And then at the very end, when you were coming to the end and you said, oh, you know what I should do? I should just shade this just so it looks like it's going to pop off your leg. And I was biting my fucking fist. I'm like, I can't take it. I can't take it. Somebody shoot me.
That's what happens.
Shoot my ass, man.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have it done, and I'm glad that I did. So now, how many years you been tattooing?
Professionally for 16 years.
16 years. That's a
Yes,
long time. You're
it
such a
is.
young guy.
And I don't want to turn this into a tattoo education seminar, but backing up to you talking about the process and the pre-drawing, and we went back and forth on FaceTime, something you didn't expect. If tattoo artists were to implement that into their, day-to-day with their clients, they could charge more, probably tattoo a little less, but I think in the end it would be a wash. And even if you made less money because you weren't doing as many people, your clients would be happier, and long term it would pay off. This is the professionalism thing that tattooing lacks.
Well, it seems like, well,
But
maybe.
you need an ideal client that wants to wait as long as you did, be willing to travel, be willing to pay. Not everybody. It's kind of like McDonald's. Like, if somebody wants quick food on the go, they're gonna go to McDonald's. If somebody wants a nice, sandwich, you might have a place to recommend.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I can't really speak for tattooer goers, but the experience was just phenomenal because I didn't think it was going to be like that at all. The only thing I ever knew about tattoos and how to get a tattoo was Venice Beach, California.
Mm-hmm.
When everybody's walking around this crazy area at the beach, there's just whacked out people from all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the tattoo people, and they're in there with these books, and you open up a book and you pick what you want, and you say, oh, give me that. I remember, I guess it was in the 90s when I first went to Los Angeles and I was performing at the Comedy Store. I remember I went to Venice Beach, and there was all these people working the tattoo thing, and they had piercings in their face and in their lip and in their ears. And I said to this one guy, how many piercings do you have in your face? And he said, 16. I go, you got 16 piercings in your face? And he goes, yeah, and I have 4 others in a different area. I'm like, yeah, I heard about that. That is crazy. So I didn't know whether to talk to him or climb him like a jungle gym. It looked ridiculous. Then he had the thing in the ear. I guess they call it a gauge.
Oh yeah.
Was there another word for it?
I don't think
Plug?
so. Yeah, plug. Yeah.
He had this big plug in his ear.
Yeah.
Big, fat, fucking stupid Oreo cookie looking thing.
I was just gonna say
Looked
that
like an
you could
Oreo.
put an Oreo in it. Yeah.
Well, he wanted to show me the different things you can do with your earlobe. So he took this thing out, and then the earlobe just looked like
Soggy onion ring.
an onion ring, like a piece of spaghetti.
Yeah.
So I said to him, why don't you just put a combination lock in it and then turn your head like that and you whack yourself in the eye and you call it the combo.
I like that.
But then they said they pierced the penis.
Mhm.
I guess that's called the Prince Albert.
Yep.
Why do they call it a Prince Albert? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Does Prince Albert have a nail in his dick?
I don't know.
How do you even come up with that? What are you out with your friends and you're working on a farm and you go to put a horseshoe on a horse and you slip and it hits you in the dick and go, I think I'll keep it. There's a nail in my dick. It's something new. What are you going to call it, Prince Albert?
The crazy thing is when you get that piercing, from what I've been told, I've never done one, I don't pierce, but you have to be at full attention. So you have to get fully aroused before jamming right through.
How do you even do that?
That's tricking the mind.
That's tricking the mind. That's called dope. A lot of dope. You have to be stoned. Imagine, do you go to a guy? Hey, dude, listen. I want to get the new Prince Albert, and if you don't mind turning around, it's a little sexier if I look at your ass than your face, and if I got to get a Woody so I can get this nail.
Yeah. There's dudes that do that.
That is sick.
So
You can watch. Maybe you grab your phone, you watch porn. Hey, okay, ready,
yeah,
ready, hurry.
those are the stories I've heard. You could do this.
Oh, I could be the fluffer.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Could you imagine piercing the penis?
Yeah. You know, I've been in a private studio for so long, and I haven't had these conversations in years that I'm just having flashbacks right now.
Well, it's good. I'm having flash forwards because I've never been in this thing. I do remember going to Venice Beach though, and there would be like maybe 6, 7 tattoo artists in that joint, and people didn't have an appointment for anybody specific. They just went in there and said, "I want a tattoo, and I want that one." And it was the thing. You get really, really wasted, so I guess you don't feel the pain, or so you don't tell them to stop halfway through and say, "I didn't want you to write that."
Yep.
Anyway, I saw his artwork on his body and artwork on your friend's body. You did your friend's, right?
You know, I was with 2 friends then. One actually had no tattoos. The other one had a few, and just by chance, he had got them done by my stepfather.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, small world.
Wow. And do you say, "Hey, man, I do a lot better than my stepfather. Should have came to me. Let me know when you want me to fix that."
No, I think some tattoos, you know, people should get covered or lasered, and then others, I think it's just a marking in time, you know, and they should live with their mistakes.
Well, we're going to show you some of his art. We're going to show you my art. But I would like to talk to you about the out of control art. And this is what some people see. I don't know what the guy's name is. I don't know what the girl's name is. Sometimes it's kind of sexy. There's bodybuilders out there now, these female bodybuilders, and they do the neck, the throat. Now, that's kind of cool. I don't know how that all started, but it seems like it's a phase, right? A lot of the neck. Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
You ever do anybody's throat?
Yeah, I have. It's funny too because you see some people that have no other tattoos and then they just have their throat, you know, or they don't have like a full chest or even a full arm, so it kind of looks a little heavy, but it's still cool.
So how do you actually do a throat? There's a person laying down in the table, and you got to straddle them, and then you just grab them like you're gonna kill them, and then you just go, "Yeah,
I'll
fucking
try that
throat."
next time.
How do you do it?
Yeah, you know, you just stretch the skin. You know, I get that nice, comfortable massage table you sat in, and just lay them flat and tell them not to breathe or swallow for 4 hours.
Yes, because when they swallow, does your hand go breathe?
Yeah, it's gonna change. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people do like behind the ear, down the back. Seems like a real popular thing to do is like maybe from this section of a body down the right side and then not the other side at all. And I've also been seeing a lot of people, I don't know what it's called, but this guy's got tattoos in his eye whites. Supposedly it started in jail, but now you can go to a professional and get it done. Did you ever ink anybody's eyeball?
No, and they don't actually tattoo it. That's the thing that people get confused about. They think they went in and stuck a needle. I'm pretty sure they just pour the ink in. I think they just kind of more like color your eye or dye your eye.
Doesn't it just come out?
Apparently not. I don't know.
There's a lot of people, they coloring their eye whites.
I tattooed a corrections officer. He was a CO for 4 years. And he told me that there were guys in his unit, they were splicing open where you'd stick the Prince Albert, and they were sticking a domino in their junk and then sewing it back up. Yeah. Well, you're talking about the eye tattoo starting in jail. That's something else that I know makes you fall to your knees thinking about it. These people are bored. They have nothing else to do. Give them a break.
Wait a minute. They insert a domino in the penis?
Yeah, so when they go home, it's supposed to pleasure their girl.
Baby, you want to play dominoes tonight?
I mean, this guy was...
I'd rather play checkers. Can you king me? Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Is that right? How do you sew it back
hearing
up?
This, fact check it. But this is what the CO
Google.
told me. This is what the CO told
Google
me.
domino in the peen.
Yeah.
What was the number? I think it was a 6. It's been missing from the game. Oh, that is fucking jacked. Yeah. Okay. Then there's the people. I'll have to admit, I think some of the girls with a lot of these cool tattoos, it's sexy. It really is sexy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see the bodybuilder girls doing it. It's really sexy. But then some of them are taking it to the extreme.
Hmm.
There's one girl changed herself into like a snake, and a lot of her body is black, no design, just black. She changed herself black. There's a guy who does this too, the Snake Man, and he cut his nose off. You just see like two big holes in his face. Got marbles in his head.
Hmm.
He even took out some of his fingers, so he only has three, so he can look like a creature.
He'll never get a regular job, huh?
No, he's a taste tester at an ice cream parlor. His tongue split.
You know,
Boing.
they can move both
Yes,
of those at the same
but
time.
I saw this girl. I don't know what her name is, and yes, when she talks, like this one moves,
Yeah.
that one moves.
Yeah, they can do
She
it.
thinks she's a lizard, so, the lizard person.
Yeah. Do you know her?
No,
Oh.
I just
You know, I hope those people are happy, but I don't know if they would be happy with that decision for the rest of their life.
you better hope that they are, man, because how you changing that back? How do you go to a doctor and go, listen, you see this split up tongue? You think you could put it back together?
Yeah.
And while you're there, you see this domino chip? Maybe we can get. Could you imagine scaring the shit out of a child? You go to Disneyland for the day looking like a sea creature,
Yeah.
and the little kid just screams.
Yeah. One of my friends said this, and it just always sticks with me. When you see someone that went that extreme, right? Not like doing their throat and their neck, but like when they're, deform themselves almost. How much money would you pay to be normal again?
Yeah, right?
But if their answers stick with it, then hey, who am I to judge?
Holy creatures.
You know?
What is your favorite tattoo on your own body, and who did it? Do you do your own tattoos? Can you do your own tattoo?
Yeah, you can. I don't recommend it. I think you end up looking like a scratch pad.
Well, if you needed to do like your arm and your righty, I guess this would be pretty
You
easy.
probably need two hands. You got to stretch the skin. I did one tattoo on myself. I was probably 16, and I actually called my brother on speakerphone, and I said, "Hey, I'm about to tattoo my own leg. I only had a couple other tattoos at that time. I go, I don't know if I'm gonna pass out doing it on myself, so I'm gonna leave it on speakerphone. If I pass out, just like come over the house and wake me up."
Well, what is the
It's a fox racing symbol. I had a dirt bike when I was a kid, and I
Right.
was into riding dirt bikes. Just a logo, nothing crazy. Similar to that Chinese symbol, just a simple black tattoo.
do you know how many tattoos you have?
Not really.
Like, what do you consider a tattoo?
I mean,
Because
this
they're
is
all
like,
tied
yeah,
together.
It's like one.
It's one.
Yeah, it's a sleeve.
A sleeve.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a sleeve.
When people were making these shirts, I don't know if you saw this, but you can go out to a store and buy a shirt, and the shirt gave you sleeves.
Mhm.
Instant tattoo.
Yeah.
Was that pissing off tattoo artists?
No, I think all that stuff, I mean, maybe haters, but I think all that stuff brings tattooing up. I think it's just more household. But the first arm tattoo I ever got was this lion when I was 18. I had had tattoos done underage because the legal age of tattooing is 18. And my stepfather did this tattoo. And I think he was still mentally recovering from his divorce with my mom. And I hadn't been in his life much. So I go in and get tattooed by him. I haven't seen him in years. A little awkward. And when he did this tattoo, I think we took another Percocet. And we were smoking blunts the whole time. This is when I smoked weed. I can't even look at weed now. I get anxiety. Smoking blunts the whole time. Doing shots of Jägermeister. And he's an old school tattooer. He freaking hammers. There's no break or kindness. Like all the gentle finesse I gave you on your leg, this is the old school biker style. He tattooed me for 2.5 hours straight. I get done and I stand up and everything gets white. And I don't want to be a pussy and pass out. So I ran to the bathroom, sat up against the wall, slid down, just passed out. I wake up and I realize, like, okay, I passed out, I'm up. I get up, I go back in the tattoo area where they're working, and he looks at me and he goes, "Why do you look green?" He's like, "You passed out." And they're all making fun. I'm like, no, I didn't pass out. I just sat down. They're like, "Yeah, right."
I heard, or I think I heard, or I read, or I saw it in the news that there's some tattoo artists in Los Angeles that actually takes $100,000 from you and puts you under,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
like you would if you were going in for surgery.
Yep.
The
So-
Michael Jackson drug.
I've seen it. I've seen the videos. It's crazy.
Really?
100,000. And he has these cool videos with a videographer and music, and he did it to like Post Malone and other famous people that will drop 100,000 on a tattoo. I recently saw a picture of a guy. He was on Ink Master, and he's known, not as much as the other guy in LA. But he posted a picture of the dude, and it wasn't like the sexy videographer picture. It was just like a straight up photo of a dude with a freaking like breathing pipe and anesthesia, and it was like kind of freaky looking. I saw it and I was like, I wouldn't want to do that. I'd rather be awake or take the Percocet.
Well, that's kind of a double-edged sword. Could you imagine you fall asleep, you're out, you wake up, and you're like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, you should have stopped me halfway through. I was sleeping.
Yeah, seriously.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, I would not want to go to sleep for a tattoo.
Dude, you slept through the whole thing. You tattooed the wrong arm.
Yeah.
I said, right.
Yeah, seriously. I tattooed a lady years ago who went in. She, sadly had a breast removed. And she said before she went in, she took a red Sharpie and marked up the boob that had to come out because she had heard freak stories of people like going in and they take out the wrong one.
Imagine that.
So as a tattoo client, if you're going to go to sleep, you probably want to put a mark, whatever side you want to get.
Could you imagine that? This one.
Yeah.
Oh, that is brutal. So out of all these tattoos, which is like your favorite? What do you like? Which ones did you got a friend and said my buddy was so good at this?
Yeah, I mean, I love this one here. I just learned so much when I got that one done.
That's a skull?
Yeah, it's a skull. I learned a lot from this guy. He's super world-renowned, famous dude. I mean, famous might be the wrong word. He's just a really good artist. For a while, I do have my head tattooed, and it's very subtle, and most people don't notice.
I didn't notice.
You never saw it, huh?
No.
So
you got a tattoo on your head?
My hairline's not what it used to be, but when I was younger and I wore a tight fade, that was like my favorite one because it was always there. I never did my neck, obviously, or my hands. The hands, I would consider if I had Conor McGregor money. If I was really far down the rabbit hole of life, maybe I would commit to that. But I actually like being able to cover up at times and nobody knows I'm a tattoo artist. I've gone to Christmas parties and talked to people for hours and then leave, and the next day everyone finds out I'm the tattoo guy, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
It's like
you're like slick.
Yeah.
What do you do? Well, I can't talk about it.
You know what I tell people? I say I'm in the business of skin dermographics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they usually eat that up. They're like, "Wow, cool."
Skin dermographics.
And then they're like 5 minutes later, so what the hell is that? Because they don't want to seem stupid, like they don't know.
Did anybody get a tattoo for you and then call you later and say, "Hey, listen, for certain reasons, I'm going to have it taken off"? Like a name?
Yeah. No, I had a guy who wanted to be a cop, so he started getting it lasered because the PD wouldn't hire him.
Cops have tattoos now.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of cops sporting tattoos. I think it was a time where you weren't supposed to have a tattoo as a cop.
I tattooed a detective last week, and I said, what's funny is you almost can't tell the difference between the cop and the criminal. Before it was like, the bad guy was tattooed.
Yeah.
Now culture has just crossed so much.
Yeah. I forgot what you were telling me about people that you have worked on, and what's like the biggest name celebrity or most talked about person to come in there?
I mean, for me, my favorite celebrity client would be Mickey Ward. I did a fight night boxing exhibition match, and he was the ref. So I met him. We exchanged contact, and I mean, if you really want to get deep in the story, he offered to get tattooed, be a client, and pay for my services. But he also offered to work out with me. And right before we worked out, I ate my first pot cookie, and I freaked the fuck out. I mean, I was fucked up for a long time off this thing, and I woke up one morning, 3 hours sleep, and Mickey Ward calls me. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I go, "Waking up." He goes,
"This is Mickey Rourke, Mickey Rourke?"
Mickey Ward.
Who's that?
He's a world champion boxer. You know the
movie?
movie?
I would do. You think Mickey Rourke? I'm like,
you know the movie The Fighter, Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
That's Mark Wahlberg is playing the role of Mickey.
Oh, is that right?
And Mickey Ward's from Lowell. It's like 30 minutes from me. Not even. It's probably like 15 minutes. So yeah, he was like the coolest celebrity, right? Because I love boxing. I did tattoo Patrick Chung from the New England Patriots while he was playing and active, so that helped my brand a ton. He was super cool. I tattooed him at his house. I tattooed him at my studio a few times. And then I tattooed Javonte Green. He played for the Celtics, and then he flew. He went to Chicago to play for the Bulls. He flew me out there. That was awesome. And a Bruins player. He was local to me. And then this guy Mike Marino He was the best.
I went in there.
Mikey.
Let's tell the story. So I see him on the cruise, and I'm thinking, this kid's cool. I got to do something.
I don't know if you remember. I was all flustered when you met me.
No, why?
Because they shut my drinking pass off and they locked me in the infirmary because I got in a little scuffle in the bar.
Oh, no. I don't remember you guys
and you
being
came
troublemakers.
over, you're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, it's fine, man. I was all worked up. And you're like, hey, come here. And you called me over and you gave me some like wise pep talk. And then you asked me about my tattoos. And then I took my shirt off. We made a video of my back piece. And, the rest is history.
Sometimes when we entertain on these cruise ships, of course, you meet some cool-ass people. You get to entertain. You make some friends. But 3 single dudes on a cruise ship by Royal Caribbean means they're going home alone.
Yeah, I was very single. I was ready to curl up with the frickin' the pole on the ship. I mean,
ships are families.
Yeah.
Weddings.
Wrong place.
Anniversaries. Retirements.
Yeah.
Depends on what ship you go on. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, guys, it ain't gonna happen on this ship. But anyway, I really wanted to get a tattoo. So I waited and waited and waited, and I miraculously was headed to Boston to do a show. I made the phone call, and I said, okay, what do I got to do? So I do the show, I guess it was on a Friday night. Then Saturday was supposed to be the day to go get the tattoo. Mm-hmm. But I was having trouble with the battery in my car, which was really weird. And a AAA guy comes, he jumps the car, and everything's fine. Then I go go to the tattoo. So I'm at his place. So he doesn't have a storefront. And there was no place to go pick out tattoos. There were no books, nothing. Just a really cool place that looked like a doctor's office, very sterile. He makes his own food. He's always got his own food with him because he's a health nut. He actually took a break and ate salad. And then his friends and his brothers all came. And we made a big video of it. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to have something that would represent, let's say, my life and where I'm from, because getting a tattoo is on my bucket list, along with the other things that I want to do. Who the fuck keeps texting me while I'm doing this? But anyway, so I went in there, and I got the tattoo, and I'm going to show you guys what the tattoo looks like. Ugh. What a shot. Doesn't that look great? It's the state of New Jersey. Really what I wanted to do was cover this scar that I got because supposedly I had skin cancer, but I think the guy just wanted to make money off my ass. And I didn't have anything, so it didn't come out all that good. But look at that. Isn't that cool? All the cities I lived in, all the places I was lucky enough to perform in, and famous places like Jersey City, the Parkway, here in Scotch Plains, Asbury Park, and so on and so forth. I think we got Atlantic City there, Wildwood, all the places that Jersey is known for being cool, because there's a lot of legendary people who come out of this state. Of course, like Bruce Springsteen, John Bon Jovi. I'm exhausted. I just winded myself. So, but that's what that looks like, folks. Now, why don't you tell everybody where they can get that done via you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Mr. Jones Tattoo, and it's Mr. Jones Tattoo. Mr.
Jones.
Yep.
I know that's your name, but it is a song, you know. Me and Mr. Jones.
I have 3 songs to my name.
Oh.
Actually, I think there's 4 now. But the famous one is the County Crows.
How's it go?
Mr. Jones and me.
Oh, there's a lot of them. There's even some from like the 40s and the 50s. I forget. Jones was a very popular name because you got to keep up with them. Keeping up with the Jones.
It's not my birth name.
Oh, it's not?
My birth name is Finella, Tyler Finella.
He's Italian. I didn't even know that.
I told you my grandfather's from Italy.
No shit.
Yeah.
I forgot all of this stuff.
Yeah, my mom remarried, so we changed my name.
Who were we talking to on the phone before we did the podcast?
That was my Nana Pat.
The Nana. You should have heard
She's
this
Irish.
lady.
85.
She's 85 years old, and she said the craziest stuff, and I'm sitting there listening.
Well, so her husband's name is Dick. He just passed probably 6 months ago. Dick Power. Right? His name's Richard Power. When I was a kid,
Dick Powers. Middle name is Domino.
When I was a kid, I go, "Hey, Dick." And he goes, "What?" And I go, "Can I call you like Grandpa or something?" He goes, "Nope, just Dick." So that's what he went by, Dick Power.
His name wasn't Richard?
It was, but you couldn't call him anything but Dick.
Imagine that.
Yeah, we were.
I'm
When
going
we
to
were
call
little,
you Dick.
when I was a little kid, we were in a parking lot one time, and somebody was like, "Dick, Dick," and I go, "Hey, someone's calling you," and he goes, "There's a lot of dicks around here."
Oh, that's fucking crazy. Folks, I think artwork is really, really cool. And I think one of the questions that I seriously wanted to ask before we started was, why tattoo? Because you have the skill to create art. Did you ever just do it on canvas?
Yeah, but I will say this. For one, you can make, I don't want to say you can make more money, but there's definitely more money in selling a tattoo than like a painting.
I could
think
see
it's,
that.
you
I
know,
mean,
more lucrative.
is there really that many people making a lot of money painting anymore?
I don't
Except the
think
people
so.
who take a bucket of paint and throw it against the wall and go, "That's worth $1 million."
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody would pay for that shit, but they do.
I've sold paintings. I've done paintings and drawings that were successful. But the other thing too is for me, because we get conditioned. When somebody wants a tattoo of like your leg, like if someone just said, "Hey, draw a cool Jersey thing," I'd be like, "Why? I want to draw a skull with a rose." But when somebody puts pressure on you and you have to create and perform, it puts this drive inside of you, you know?
Can you actually get your phone and show people that maybe some of those artworks that you were doing on that woman's arm
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
how you did it before she came to the studio?
Yeah,
I don't
so
know if I'm describing this correctly, but you drew it on paper before you put it on the lady's body.
so
That's it.
this is my go-to photo when I show people my work. This here. Where's the camera? That's the one. Everywhere I've been to, all over the country. Everywhere I go, if I meet a random person at a grocery store or a freaking UFC fight, I show them that, they're sold. I went to a tattoo convention a couple months ago, and when I met tattoo artists, they're like, "Oh, like what's your work?" And I showed them that, and they're like,
That is unbelievable.
it's funny. Like tattoo artists aren't as impressed by that piece, but the outside of her arm,
That is sick.
I love that.
See, I would like to have that on just a painting, hanging on the wall.
Is that where we're going with this?
No, but that is badass.
So the outside of her arm, and the quality from my camera to the screen isn't as good. This is all one session. That's 11 hours straight. That girl was at my studio for 13 hours.
Look at that.
That's pre-drawn, pre-set up, all my meals prepped, ready to go.
He preps his meals.
Yeah.
He took a lunch while I was getting my tattoo. What was you having? Spinach and
Something
chicken.
healthy. Now that tattoo on that.
I'm like, go to McDonald's, dude. Come on.
Mikey.
Listen, while we're speaking about food, let's do this and then we can end the show. I want to thank everybody for watching again tonight.
Me
but
too.
one of my my fun places to go while I'm here in Scotch Plains is Big C's food truck. This guy, Clemente, he's from Naples, Italy. He's hilarious. He makes us happy. He always brings us sandwiches. This is one of my favorite sandwiches. We're just going to take a bite and not talk about it too much because when we're done with the podcast, we're going to eat them. But this is a chicken cutlet sandwich with just lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise, but it's done with so much Italian love, you can't stop eating it. There's so many gourmet sandwiches to get at this guy's place. It's called Mr. C's, Big C's Food Truck. You gotta love it. It's an Italian grill. He'll come to your house. He'll park in the driveway. He actually does come to your house because he's a trained gourmet chef. His name is Clemente. Look at his menu. It is just the best. You're not going for hot dogs. You're going for gourmet sandwiches. All right? So a nice big shout out. We're going to bite this sandwich, but if you guys are watching tonight and you're getting kind of hungry and you happen to be in Plainfield or in Scotch Plains, 908-403-3172, 200 Terrell Road. I really don't know how he has an address because he's in a parking lot, but if he calls it 200 Terrell Road, then you need to go there. It's Plainfield, New Jersey. See all the information? One more time. Do you see all the information? They call him Mr. C's, Big C's Italian Grill, Because his name is Clemente.
If you flip the back, they can scan the QR code.
Oh, scan that. I fucking hate technology. Look at that. You can get a bottle. Doesn't say what it is. It's just a drink. You can get water, soda, bottle. That is so Italian. What do you want? I want a bottle. All right, here's the bottle. All right, so let's just bite one real quick.
All right, here we go.
Look at that chicken cutlet. Sons of bitches. Boom. Damn, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really talk while you're eating. Remember when I was younger. Don't talk with your mouth full. Your mother slapped the shit out of you.
Spicy mayo.
Folks, we gotta get going. We've been having a lot of fun here in the basement. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching the podcast tonight. Remember, you can be on the show. You could sponsor a show. All you have to do is write to me at MikeMarinoLive@gmail.com. If you have any pictures of us or maybe some of my friends together somewhere that you saw us a show, MikeMarinoFans@gmail.com. Ooh, I spit on myself. I want to thank my producer, Tatiana Blue Shell, for always making sure we put on a great podcast and making sure everybody out there gets to see it. Remember, the podcast airs on my YouTube channel exclusively at Mike Marino Live. I want to thank my guest, the big man, Tyler Jones. They call him Mr. Jones. Thank you so much for doing my tattoo. Thank you for coming to visit. And tell everybody one more time where they can get a tattoo from you.
MrJonesTattoo.com is my website, or at Mr. Jones Tattoo is my Instagram.
Don't you have a website? What was the website?
MrJonesTattoo.com.
MrJonesTattoo.com. Guys, check it out. You're going to love this work, and it would be worth the trip. If you're not in the Boston area, you can get up there. It's very easy.
The other thing I'd like to add in, too, to anyone who's a potential client, even if I cannot tattoo you, I offer tattoo education via FaceTime, like through a consultation. And if you think of it, like, even if you pay $50 to $100 to speak to me and I never tattoo you, it's an insurance policy. I've had people where I've done FaceTime consultations without the intention of tattooing them because what they want is not what I want to do, but I help guide them in a better direction. Some people have reached out thinking they want to add to something, and then they realize, like, maybe I should get this lasered off first, or maybe I should get it covered, or maybe I shouldn't even get a tattoo. So you're paying for the experience, for, you know, the opinion. So even if I can't tattoo you and you're far away and you won't commute, I could at least help guide you in a better direction.
He will keep you from going into a bar where everybody is wasted and the guy's just going to tattoo you from a picture in a book.
Yeah.
He's going to give you the advice that makes you do the right thing, and you're going to love it, you're going to enjoy it, you'll end up going to see him. Let me just end with asking one more question.
Please.
How do you do a tattoo over a hairy nipple?
You just take the tweezers and pluck them out one by one.
Did you ever have a girl, you sure you want me to go around the areola? I'm turning red. It's a little hot down in the basement. We got to get going. Let's make America Italian again, everybody. Right. You know the motto. You don't know nothing. You don't see nothing. You don't say nothing. And how do I end every single one of my podcasts? By always saying the same thing with my special guest. Don't take no shit from nobody.
Definitely
Ready?
Not.
Here we go. Don't take no shit from... We could do better. Ready? Don't take no shit from nobody. Bye, everybody. Hey, folks, I hope you're enjoying watching my podcast live from my mother's basement. We're having a lot of fun, and I'm going to have a lot of great guests on the show in the future. So if you like it, hit like. You could also leave a comment. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch other funny videos. And you could also listen to my podcast on your favorite podcast app like Spotify and iTunes.